Chapter 10, October, A Bountiful Harvest. October 1st, sweet is the strain when in the song the singer has been lost, Elizabeth Stuart Phelps. To me, this screams of the saying it's a labor of love. Why do I feel this way? Because singing, although it releases all those feel-good chemicals and hormones, helps us feel connected with others through shared experiences of listening and performing, and improves our physical and mental well-being overall in the short and long term. It takes a physical and sometimes mental toll. Singing is hard and fun work. There's no other way to say it. We use our core muscles to the nth degree. We throw our entire being into a performance, arms raised high, going down on our hands and knees, projecting certain words and phrases to convey a powerful moment, etc. And we can sometimes be in our own heads a bit too much, overthinking how people are receiving or perceiving us, and worrying if we're able to hit that high note that comes in the bridge before it gets there. But at the end of the day, when we are channeling our focus and energy into a song through the art of singing, we can most certainly become one with the song and lose ourselves in it. This is A-okay because we are locked in the zone or flow state when this happens. I've had the pleasure of entering this and still do on occasion. It is a wonderful place to be. In fact, it is a reminder that music and the world are so beautiful and that life is good. October 2nd, when I had my first experiences of choral singing, the dissonance of those close harmonies was so exquisite that I would giggle or I would tear up, and I felt it in a physical way. Eric Whitaker. There's something about the blending of several voices that makes us feel emotional as well as physically involved. When singing in a choir, sometimes there will be people who know how to sing and those who don't, possibly trying it out for the first time. In both cases, this is completely okay. The reason why you are singing in a choir is the most important part. Most people join a choir to learn how to harmonize with other people, both literally through music and metaphorically through conversation and compassionate, empathetic understanding. In addition to this, they are doing it because they love singing and are finding ways to enhance their ability in this realm while praising God. Yes, most choirs start in the church, so that is a key element to the reason why they choose to join them. I know not all choirs are religious in nature, but I'm confident that if you were to ask a random person on the street what a key characteristic of a choir is, they would say it's singing spiritual religious songs at some point in their answer, but I digress. The combination of well-trained voices and those still learning can create an interesting dissonance as well as the inherent nature of some religious or spiritual songs, which can possibly make you giggle while simultaneously, or one right after the other, make you tear up. Makes perfect sense. If you really think about the lyrics being sung by a group of people in a church praising God through song, it would make you feel something emotionally and physically in your body, possibly inspired and feeling the goosebumps. Maybe a song helps you feel more connected to another person or feel one with the universe. Maybe a different song helps you work on your projection of words and notes, strengthening your core muscles. All in all, singing is powerful. It moves people, and this is what we're after, to encourage, motivate, and inspire. October 3rd, singing is a powerful tool for self-realization and for nourishment of others, developing as a shared responsibility. Maribeth A. Damey. I love the sentiment behind this quote. When we sing, we definitely learn something about ourselves. For starters, we learn how in key and in time we are with the music that accompanies a song. We learn how courageous we can be in front of an audience, not only singing, but talking between songs to keep the crowd captivated. We learn how to project our voice when necessary and when to hold back. We also learn that it is okay to make mistakes and to not beat ourselves up mentally for making them. Keeping all this in mind, singing is not just nourishment for others, but for ourselves as well. If we're doing it for the right reasons, singing makes us feel good inside, helps us feel connected to others through harmony and shared experience, and inspires us to want to continue coming back to it as much as possible. A byproduct of singing is that it does the same thing for other people while they are listening to us sing and singing along with us as an active participant in the performance. It is very much a two-way street, a conversation, if you will, between multiple parties, each listening and participating through the universal language that is music. October 4th, singing provides a true sense of lightheartedness. If I sing when I'm alone, I feel wonderful. It's freedom. Andrea Bocelli. I can attest to this quote firsthand in that singing has given me a sense of lightheartedness. It takes a seriousness out of situations in life, and for me has been able to turn a negative situation to a positive one through songwriting and singing. There is something about singing that makes us feel lighter, freer, more at peace and at ease within ourselves and the world around us. Maybe it's because we aren't thinking about life stresses and responsibilities when we sing. So it's like the heavy burden or load we may be literally and metaphorically carrying on our shoulders is temporarily lifted. Maybe it's because singing connects us to something bigger than ourselves. It's like we are taking the human element out of it all, the physicality and emotionality, and connecting it with the divine, melodies floating in the air seemingly out of nowhere. So you've got it right, Andrea. Keep on singing and feeling wonderful, free, and lighthearted. It not only does a body good, but does a mind and soul good too. October 6th, there is a significant difference between skillful singing and artistic vocal interpretation. Although skillful singing brings joy to many listeners, only remarkable vocal performance may cause people to be overcome with emotion. Araldo Benevac. Skillful singing is a lot of fun to witness, with vocal ascents and descents, trills, vibrato, really going for it in a powerful way and holding back to create an intimate moment. These qualities can be inspiring and awe-inducing. A remarkable performance takes the element of skillful singing and takes it to the next level. Not only would a singer showcase his or her talent by incorporating all of the above, but he or she would fully embody the lyrics, throwing everything they have vocally, physically, emotionally, and psychologically into it. You can tell the difference. It may be subtle at times, or it may be glaringly obvious at others, but the difference is present. For me, it's a matter of feeling the goosebumps or to the point of tears, which separates a skillful performance from a remarkable one. This is what can also distinguish between someone being a legend and just another singer in said genre from said era. In either case, you really can't go wrong as a singer or as a listener. October 8th. The song becomes a meaning itself through the vibratory qualities. When we begin to catch the vibratory qualities, the song begins to sing us. I don't know anymore if I am finding that song or if I am that song. Jerzy Grotowski. I love this. When you embody the message or the story of the lyrics, it is hard to determine where you begin and the song ends or where the song begins and you end. Over the years, I've been lucky and blessed enough to feel this over and over again when songwriting and while performing. It's a kind of being in the zone or flow state that I never want to leave. I liken it to a slice of heaven and earth where time and space disappear and nothing else matters except the song at hand and being fully in the moment with it. In a sense, I become one with the song. I become the song becomes me. This same concept can be applied to any creative endeavor or situation, experience in life when fully in the moment. October 8th, when we sing, I am one of many, and the individual me evaporates. I am one of 23 university choir members. Not a professor, not an American, not a 46-year-old in the midst of 20-somethings, not a woman trying to outpace the aspects of self she has yet to make peace with. I am simply what we all are, another voice, a set of lungs, some vocal cords, and someone who finds joy and comfort in singing. But when the music stops, so does the we. The union dissolves. The silence transforms first-person plural into first-person singular. Laura Kelly. This is a great observation to make in reference to singing with a group of people and what happens when the music stops. It is so true. I've experienced this on many occasions while performing in a band, in a duo, as well as in a group singing environments like a church or at a concert. The only way to achieve this kind of singularity in a group setting is if everyone's ego dissolves. If everyone is on the same page with the artist, the song, and the experience, the ego has a tendency to disappear and nothing else matters except for what is happening in the here and now. There's no judgment being made by anyone, and it doesn't matter what your position or title is in life or your career. It's a wonderful experience to have as a part of your life's journey. However, when the music stops, the ego then returns and we go from a group singularity to an individual singularity once again. Pretty amazing stuff, right? October 9th. In the end, we shall recognize our song and sing it well. You may feel a little warbly at the moment, but so have all the great singers. Just keep singing if you'll find your way home. Alan Cohen. Whether Alan is talking about a literal song or not, there's great wisdom in this quote. I see this as a reminder, as well as a call to action about finding your voice through the work you do with your career, subjects you care deeply about and want to fight for, as well as your own unique style of singing, if singing is in fact what you choose to do in life. And discovering your gifts, talents, skills, and abilities to use them for the greater good. Sometimes these gifts, talents, skills, and abilities show themselves early on in life. Sometimes it's later on. It's up to us to discern what they are or what it is. This can only happen if you are willing to try new things and be open to letting these things find you. Awareness is key. In addition to the above, this quote speaks to the idea that there are times when things may not seem like they are going as planned. Life is a bit rocky, or you might lose your footing or fall off the straight and narrow, let's say. This is okay, as long as you keep getting back up, trying to forge ahead in a positive direction, taking necessary steps to become a better version of yourself every day. If you develop good habits and continue singing, honing your craft and your adaptability, things will find a way of working themselves out for your benefit. October 10th. My singing style really has no style because I try to sing each number differently. I've always believed that if style takes precedent over the words and music, the audience gets cheated. It's like when people see a fine player movie, they imagine themselves in the leading role. I want them to imagine that they're singing, not just listening to someone else. Judy Garland. Right on, Judy. To make each song's performance be a totally unique experience for you as a singer will inevitably make it a unique experience for the listener. It's as if you are rewriting or recreating the song from scratch by coming at each one from a different angle. In doing so, it can create a bit of confusion and uncertainty for everyone since something new that hasn't been done or heard before is happening in real time right in front of everyone, yourself included. Now, I'm not saying to go completely off the rails by singing the entire song with different melodies or nuances in your voice, but rather bits and pieces of it slightly different. And not only keep yourself on your toes, but anyone in your presence, since no one knows when the surprise word, phrase, or string of phrases might come. To me, this is all about creativity and making something of your own. When you do this, you are inherently inviting other people to join you in that creativity, and they might feel they are creating various parts, all on their own. I've done this at concerts just by singing a harmony that isn't actually there in the performance. October 11th. Singing is a way of escaping. It's another world. I'm no longer on Earth. Edith Piaf. Although there is a lot of truth to this quote, I would have to respectfully disagree with the second half of it. Yes, singing is a way or form of escape, but even though it is, it doesn't mean we're no longer on Earth. For me, singing provides us with a constructive and positive way of letting go, letting loose, and dealing with whatever is going on in our lives in a healthy way. Maybe singing is a means of therapy, working out the inner demons or mental loops we may have going on in our lives. For me, singing as well as songwriting gets whatever is going on in my head, whatever I've been ruminating on for a while, on paper and out of my head. It lessens the grip the mental anguish or internal suffering has on me and captures it somewhere else. It's quite freeing and burden lifting. Maybe singing is a way of physically releasing tension, stress, or anxiety. Maybe singing is a form of creative expression working out that muscle. Maybe it's a combination of all these things. Whatever the case may be, singing, like other ways of creating music and other artistic endeavors, is both an escape and grounding experience at the same time. As human beings, we can't totally escape our physical selves while we're alive, and singing is a way of helping us feel connected to our bodies as well as our souls. We are here on earth, so let us embrace this fact in the art of singing to assist us in achieving peace and love through the human, using various body parts and organs to sing, and divine melodies seemingly floating in the air, elements of it. October 12th, so she poured out the liquid music of her voice to quench the thirst of his spirit. Nathaniel Hawthorne. As human beings, we all long for something, whether it's a passionate relationship with a significant other to fill that void or unrequited love in our lives, the career or hobby that fills the need for meaningful, joyful work to make a positive impact and contribution to society, or the moments of peace and quiet amidst the hustle and bustle of shuffling of the kids here, there, and everywhere. We are continuously yearning and longing. Of course, there are many other examples of longing throughout life, but these immediately come to mind. So Nathaniel so eloquently says this quote: the listener, who is a male, is longing for sweet music in the form of singing in his life. It just so happens to come from a female. Could this be man's longing for a partner of the opposite sex who can become whole by finding his other half? Possibly. Could it be man's yearning for some beauty and positivity in his life through music? Possibly. In either case, he is longing, and this longing is being met and filled by none other than music in the form of singing. Music, and especially singing, most certainly has the tendency to soothe the soul and lift the spirit. What a wonderful thing. October 13th. All our life is like a day of celebration for us. We are convinced, in fact, that God is always everywhere. We work while singing, we sail while reciting hymns. We accomplish all other occupations of life while praying. Clement of Alexandria. A series of celebrations day after day. What a great way to look at life. And it most certainly can be looked at that way. Every day we are alive as a gift, so usually when you receive a gift, it is for some sort of celebration, be it a birthday, anniversary, retirement party, job promotion, or holiday. Gifts are usually present. We ought to not only celebrate big Montemenu moments in life, but also the everyday moments. After all, this is what life is made up of anyway, a series of experiences and events every day for X amount of years. And to her other point, I'm a firm believer that God is everywhere. He is in all the wonderful people and elements of nature, mountains, oceans, forests, valleys, sunrises, sunsets, lakes, rivers, and more, on planet Earth and beyond. All we have to do is take a second to think about the majestic and seemingly magical beauty around us, to know that life is good, and we are so lucky, thankful, and blessed to be able to experience it in all its glory. In addition to this, if you work or sail while singing or reciting hymns, it makes the work and sailing not feel like work or sailing and helps pass the time in a joyous way. And if we are praying to God, any saints, or the plethora of angels to help us through any situation we may be facing, our prayers do get answered. They may not get answered in the time we want, but in God's time. After all, He lives outside the confines of space and time, which allows Him to be everywhere at all times. October 14th, the singer has everything within him. The notes come out from his very life. They are not materials gathered from outside. Rabindranath Tagore. Although I would agree with this quote in that the singer has everything musically inside of him or her to sing a song, he or she is missing one important element: inspiration and encouragement from fans, family members, friends, and life experiences. You see, as a singer, one can train the voice to do all kinds of fancy, nuanced things, use the various body parts to channel the melodies through the brain, mouth, tongue, throat, larynx, abdomen, stomach, diaphragm, and even sing the phone book, meaning take something mundane like people's names, businesses, and make them sound good. But if the inspiration or encouragement isn't there to do so, or continuing doing so, the singer might not pursue it anymore. It's hard to imagine this scenario with how fun, joyous, and life-giving singing is, but I know it to be true. Think about it. If a big-time singer has a performance booked at a venue, and when he or she is about to go on stage, the place is nearly empty, it would be very hard to go on stage at that point. One might think, did I do something wrong, or do people not like me anymore? They would begin to doubt their talent, skill, and ability, even though deep down inside they know they are talented. However, if the situation were reversed and the venue was packed, with no breathing room for people to have their own personal space, then that would be encouraging. The presence and energy from the audience would be more than enough to inspire and encourage the singer to give it their best and want to continue doing so the next night and many nights after. As simple as an example this may be, it speaks volumes about the kind of impact we all have on each other, especially those putting themselves out there in a creative endeavor such as singing. Of course, there are people who believe so much in themselves that it doesn't matter who shows up or what people say about them. They're going to continue doing what they do because they love it and believe so much in what they are doing that nothing will stop them. But those kinds of people are a rare breed. You may not want to admit it, but I am from the camp that most people have this desire to please people, so external validation could mean more than you initially think. think. Bottom line is that we ought to show up for one another, both emotionally and physically. It will only make the world a better place. October 15th, group singing is cheaper than therapy, healthier than drinking, and certainly more fun than working out. Stacey Horn. There's nothing like group singing. Think of a choir getting together, playing off each other's melodic notes to create a beautiful unifying harmony word for word through entire songs. Or think of a barbershop quartet singing original songs or traditional standards for the passerby, just using their voices and nothing else. Better yet, think of a college a cappella group singing in competitions or at the hip fraternity or sorority on campus, blending elements of classical singing with modern beatboxing, playing lyrical ping pong with each other, inspiring everyone in attendance. In any of these examples, it's easy to see the wholesome, pure, raw, organic, and real performance and impact group singing can be, and not just for the listener. It can be the same and then some for the performers in said group, and I would have to agree with Stacey's observation of group singing being healthier than drinking. It's definitely cheaper than therapy because it doesn't cost anything to join a choir, a cappella group, or barbershop quartet. It's most certainly a lot of fun to sing with other people because it makes you a better singer to be around other people who are as good and even better than you. That's how you get better at anything, to challenge yourself and be challenged by others. To her point about it being more fun than working out, I'm not so sure about that since singing is a form of working out. Some may not see it that way, but to me, singing, especially for long periods of time, is an exercise in persistence and perseverance, working out the core muscles in your body, as well as anything that runs through your throat. To me, it's like a long-distance event. October 16th, let your heart sing from those wounded places. When you sing your song with everything you've got, it will not only heal you, but it will heal all of us through you. Gemma B. Benton. Singing from a wounded place may seem like something not enjoyable, something one might not want to do and even avoid. It's uncomfortable to do so. It's scary to do so. It's hard to do so. However, this is exactly where the healing in life begins, when we take on whatever it is that has been hurting us physically and or emotionally, psychologically. And we are able to take on that uncomfortable feeling or face that fear. The feeling or fear has less control over us. We end up being able to minimize the negative impact it is having or may have had on us at one point in time. It's akin to Ryan Holiday's book and mantra, The Obstacle is the Way. Instead of trying to go around or avoid a problem or obstacle, you adopt the mentality of embracing the obstacle. In doing so, it helps you create new ways of solving the problem and coming out stronger and better for it in the end. In addition to dealing with a problem head-on in order to heal ourselves, we may inspire others along the way and heal them through our efforts. They can see themselves in you and come to the realization that they are not alone in their own personal suffering, struggles, and hardships. There's something comforting and bonding to know others have experienced or are currently experiencing something similar to us. It reminds me of a quote, "If he or she can do it, so can I." Isn't that so true? October 17th, I go to a very visual place when I'm singing. It's very cinematic and I get this feeling of space. I love when music does that. David Gahan. Music, although it is mainly audible, can be quite visual as well. A couple of small examples of this idea is that we can see it through wave files and other formats on a computer, as well as read what music is being performed through tablature, chord charts, and traditional music notation sheets. And this doesn't even get into what Dave is speaking to, which is spatial awareness and the recognition of music within it. When I listen to a track through headphones, I pay attention to how big the space sounds in both ears. Maybe the guitar is coming through the right ear, the lead vocals, drums, and bass through the center, the piano slightly to the left, and any harmony to both sides. It is an art to be able to figure out what instrument is going to sound best where in a mix. If done the right way and with the right tender, love, and care, it's a great way to make a recording sound bigger than it actually is. It invites the listener into this wonderful space and is a trip for someone who has never fully paid attention to where the instruments are in a mix. Once you do, your music listening experience will never be the same again, and it will be for the best. So let us take notice of where each instrument is, not only in a live recording, but in a live performance space as well. October 18th, a musical performance is one can sense that the person on stage is having a good time, even if they're singing a song about breakup or being in a bad way. For an actor, this would be anathema. It would destroy the illusion. But with singing, one can have it both ways. As a singer, you can be transparent and reveal yourself on stage in that moment, and at the same time, be the person whose story is being told in the song. Not too many kinds of performances allow that. David Byrne. I love it, David. You are right in the money with a singer being able to live in an almost dualistic state on stage. The idea of having a good time, even while singing about a breakup or being in a bad way, seems contradictory at first glance. Not only that, but it almost seems inauthentic, not genuine, and borderline deceitful. I mean, how can one sing about a negative, less than ideal experience and still have a good time doing so? It's only possible with music and the creative expression of the music through singing. We've touched upon this many times throughout this book series, but it still bears repeating. Singing, and music for that matter, makes us feel good. It's as simple as that. All the reasons why singing makes us feel good have been detailed on other pages, so we don't need to go over them again. So no matter what we are singing about, even if it's something extremely stressful, angry, negative, or evil, somewhere inside of us feels good about letting it go and releasing its grip on us. The feel-good chemicals released while singing can sustain us for long after a performance is finished. Another way to look at this quote is that singers can most certainly be in the moment with the lyrics and story message of the song, embodying them with an intensity and passion easily seen on their faces and felt inside their psyche, and still have a good time in the end, singing for the victory. October 19th, God sent his singers upon earth with songs of sadness and of mirth, that they might touch the hearts of men and bring them back to heaven again. Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. I love the sentiment behind this quote. When God sends his singers upon earth, I visualize this as sending his choirs of angels down to inspire us through the beautiful melodies and harmonies found in the songs we all love, and the individuals who are singing them for our enjoyment. This is especially the case with Christian, inspirational, gospel, and traditional church hymns, since these are all styles of music designed to praise God. Whether it be songs of sorrow or songs of joy, there is so much to go around in the realm of inspiration, motivation, and encouragement. These types of songs most certainly invite us to become better versions of ourselves and to say thank you to the creator of the universe over and over again. In doing so, they connect us with our divine nature, our souls, our consciences, if you will. In this sense, it's like the ultimate feedback loop, angels coming down to inspire us to do our best to get to heaven so that we can do the same for those on earth. And on and on and on. What an amazing way to think about our time here on this earth and eternity. Both places have so much beauty, and we get to experience both in all their awe and wonder if we are so lucky. October 20th, all meet in singing, which brings together different knowings into a wide and subtle music, the music of living. Alison Croghan. Simply put, beautifully said, in one way, shape, or form, we all meet in singing. Here are some real-world examples of this idea. The birds are chirping in the morning. They greet us with singing, and so too can we do the same? Our favorite song is playing on the radio, YouTube, or other streaming service. The song and artist who is performing the song greets us with singing, and so too can we do the same. A conversation we are having with a loved one, colleague, or a complete stranger is happening. There is a rhythm and tone to the conversation, much like a song that is being sung has. The distant drone of cars humming in the background, horns blaring, trays whizzing by, and planes taking off. All of these have a rhythm and tone to them as well. We don't always notice these, as we tend to think of them as something outside of singing or music altogether. But if we were to really listen and take notice, we would find that all of these different situations have not only a tone and rhythm to them, but can be related to singing and music in general. The music of living is very much alive and well inside of us and all around us. October 21st. Sometimes, he whispered at last, sometimes I dream I'm singing, and I wake from it with my throat aching. He couldn't see her face or the tears that percoled at the corners of her eyes. What do you sing? She whispered back. She heard the shush of the linen pillow as he shook his head. No song I've ever heard or know, he said softly, but I know I'm singing it for you. Diana Gabaldon. What a great sentiment this dialogue is. To go to bed at night, dream of singing, and then feel it in your body when you wake up seems to be quite a unique experience. It's like someone dreaming of running a marathon, and when they wake up, their legs are sore. It's like your body acted out the dream in such a way while asleep that you feel the after effects of it once you are awake again. Very interesting to say the least. The sentence that brings it all together for me is no song I've ever heard of or know, but I know I'm singing it for you. It's amazing to think our brains and bodies do so much for us while we are asleep. In addition to the brain and body resting, restoring itself from the day's activities, they sort out our fears, anxieties, stresses, and worries. And the coolest part is the brain can be so creative in working out the kinks. It comes up with an original song out of the blue and tells us even subconsciously that it is for a particular person. Wild stuff. October 22nd, when I hear someone instantaneously, I'm like, who's singing? You're giving people so much of yourself, and my voice is the most natural, distinctive tool I have. It's up to me to express myself on a wider scale than just writing vocal melodies and lyrics. Sampha. This is 100% on point. It is in the singer's best interest to express himself or herself in such a way that differentiates and distinguishes from every other singer that exists. In doing so, you're creating a space for people to enjoy and appreciate your artistry as much or even more than the artists themselves. If a singer fails to do this, he or she sounds like a carbon copy or exact replica of an already existing artist. Now, there's nothing wrong with this face value. An example, if someone loves singing and wants to be an Elvis impersonator, more power to them. But if you are trying to truly be unique and create your own style, this would not be the way to go. I mean, you could try to sing exactly like a particular artist or specific songs, and that's great as a starting point. To solely do that would not separate yourself from the pack, though. Bottom line, the human voice is the most distinct and malleable musical instrument. The fact that all of us have a voice and in turn, an instrument as part of our experience on this earth, it's amazing. We should not take this for granted and continue to narrow in on our own personal style. It is fun to create something out of nothing, and if you can create something unique out of nothing, it is inspiring not only for the artist, but for the listener as well. October 23rd, singing with others is an unmediated shared experience as each person feels the same music reverberating in their individual bodies. Singing is part of our humanity. It is embodied empathy. Jay Griffiths. Singing with others most certainly is a wonderful experience. If you've ever had the pleasure to do so, whether it's in a band, a choir, a duo, or a quartet, or at a concert, it feels like everything and everyone becomes one entity. Even though there is more than one person singing at the same time, And at a concert, tens of thousands of people at once, as well as moving, when everything clicks into the right gear and everyone is in the zone, you get the sense of euphoria, ecstasy, and eternity all wrapped into one. Time and space are thrown out the window and you're enthralled, entranced, and exhilarated by the beautiful, powerful, and inspirational melodies. I've experienced this, and it is something I want to experience over and over again if possible. It's a place I want to live in for as long as I can while on this earth. To Jay's second sentence, singing is part of our humanity. As human beings, we crave connection of some kind, physical, emotional, and or psychological or mental. So when we sing together with each other, we are tapping right into that connection on an immediate and deep level. It helps us feel not so alone or on our own islands. And that right there is embodied empathy. October 24th. The Book of Psalms instructs us in the use of wings as well as words. It sets us both mounting and singing. Charles Spurgeon. I love this. Even if you aren't religious or spiritual, you could still appreciate the sentiment behind this quote. To be in a state where you feel free enough to let loose through singing is a beautiful thing. In doing so, you can feel as if you can fly, hence the mounting part with wings reference. Singing is a great way to let loose and let your soul run free with words, lyrics, as well as musical melodies. You'd be hard-pressed to find a better way to describe the idea of singing other than feeling free in flight. So keep on singing, and in turn, you'll keep on soaring to new heights, both musically and in life. October 25th. Inspiration is enough to give expression to the tone in singing, especially when the word or song is without words. Franz Liszt. Yes, it most certainly is, Franz. When we feel inspired, it shows in how we perform a piece of music, not just what we are performing. For me, this is the greatest thing about everything in life, not just music. It is not just that we play the game of soccer, it's how we play it that matters. Do we foul people excessively, kick the ball aimlessly forward, or do we find our teammates working the ball at the field, playing faster and better than the other team? It's not just that we make the grade in school, it is how we make the grade that matters. Do we study hard, memorize and regurgitate information and then forget it afterwards? Do we cheat off our classmates, or do we embody the information we are learning by applying it to real-life situations? It is not just that we sing a song, it's how we sing it that matters. Do we just sing exactly like how the initial singer, if we are covering a song, let's say, sings, or do we put our own twist on it with unique inflections, subtle and maybe not so subtle nuances and intricacies, making the song more like one we wrote? To Franz's second half of the sentence, when the song is without words, you really have to get creative and use your imagination to create beautiful, interesting melodies to keep people's attention for the entire song. All in all, really great stuff packed into one sentence from this classical composer of over 200 years ago. October 26th. I don't like singing before noon. Sting. I'm not sure why Sting doesn't like to sing before noon, but there is some truth to it. Why would he say this? Well, I believe it is because as a touring musician and just a musician and singer in general, it's hard to get excited about singing in the morning. Singing takes a lot of energy, and let's face it, not many people have a ton of energy first thing in the morning. Maybe there's a subconscious element to this in that he is really in his head thinking that his voice isn't completely warmed up yet at that time of day. And I wouldn't blame him for thinking this way, but I don't think we have to take this quote literally as to never sing before noon. He just doesn't like to do so. It doesn't mean that he hasn't before, but prefers not to. There are many things in life we might prefer not to do, but sometimes have to grin and bear it, push through an uncomfortable, difficult situation because it is the right thing to do. A simple example is going to a funeral. Another one is having a conversation with an employee who is not meeting deadlines and has been warned once that if the deadline isn't met again, he or she would be let go. Yet another is going on a hike with a group of people in the woods and seeing a bear on the journey. We might not like to do or experience any of these, but to pay respect to someone's life, to follow through with our words, because if you don't take action on words said in the past, then your words hold little to no weight. We're making our way up and then down the mountain in one piece is exactly what we ought to do. In fact, it's the least we could do. If we live our lives just avoiding conversations, situations, and experiences that might be less than ideal or seemingly negative, we won't ever leave the house or talk to anyone. Life is difficult. Life is ever-changing. Life is chaotic. At the same time, life is also a great adventure and journey if we choose to see it through that lens. So let's sing whenever and whatever we want, even if it may be uncomfortable in the short term. You'll be better off for doing so, and others will reap the same and then some benefits. October 27th. I love singing just for my own benefit. Miranda Kerr. I know exactly what you were talking about, Miranda. Now, some may see this as being selfish to just sing for your own benefit, and in one sense it is. But let's extrapolate this out for a minute. If you really enjoy doing something and it is a good moral, ethical, and legal endeavor, then there's nothing wrong with that at all. The fact you get to engage in an activity that provides you with joy, a sense of meaning and purpose, and not just short-term benefits, but long-term ones as well, is a tremendous blessing and gift. The sentiment should not be just brushed aside, but rather celebrated. An inevitable byproduct of doing something you enjoy is that it will most certainly inspire and encourage others to support you or join you in with you. So, even though this sounds like it is selfish face value, a natural consequence of this is it will positively impact others at the same time. It is as if you are being selfish and unselfish at the same time. If we are so lucky to find something like this in our lives that can create the greatest good for the most amount of people, then why not do it? As long as we are doing everything in our power to follow the straight and narrow path, choosing love instead of fear to inspire others, then we have nothing to worry about or question as far as our motives go. I liken this to the same thing as spending time on yourself to get in the best physical condition you can. It is not selfish to want to take care of your body, even though at the time you were doing it, you were spending time away from close loved ones. If we are in the best physical condition, there's a good chance we're in the best mental condition as well, making our time spent with loved ones the best it can possibly be now and for years to come. October 28th, if you're going to sing, sing loud. Travis Tritt. You've got that right, Travis. Like anything else in life, if you're going to do something, do it with your whole heart and soul, giving everything you have to it. Otherwise, what's the point? Half-assing your way through projects, being wishy-washy about plans, and not doing your best are all things to steer away from, not go towards. I've always been in the mindset to really set your mind to something or don't do it at all. Now, I know that life is lived in the gray, and it isn't always black and white, but when it comes to singing and or pursuing a passion or hobby, we owe it to ourselves to really go for it. We don't want to be at the end of our lives and wonder, what if I didn't do everything in my power and give it all for said activity? We also don't want to ever admit that we took the shortcut or cut corners, sacrificing the end result because it was convenient at the time. Do the hard things in life. Lay it all on the line. Put everything you have into achieving your goals, living out your dreams, and becoming the best version of yourself. The moral of the story is to keep on singing and sing loud and proud for all to hear. It will not only be beneficial and inspiring to you, but to others as well. A win-win all around. October 29th. Music and singing is the fastest motivator in the world. Amit Kalantri. Although I agree that music is a motivator for many things, an example, exercising, dancing, taking on a new challenge in life, getting you out of bed in the morning, I don't believe it is the fastest motivator in the world. The fastest is most likely food. For me, most problems can be solved over a good meal simply by putting some calories in your body. I mean, think about it. The term hangry immediately comes to mind. If you haven't eaten in a while, your mood is probably not the best. You might even start to get headaches, stomach grumbling, and feeling overall lethargic. Eating some sort of food will solve the hunger problem as well as the mood and energy issues on the spot. This isn't to diminish the power that music and singing, for that matter, has on us as human beings. Music does put us in a good mood, helps us let loose, all the while creating a positive feedback loop for as long as we feed into it. It's just that, in my opinion, food takes the cake, pun intended, in the end as being the fastest motivator. October 30th, our songs will all be silenced, but what of it? Go on singing. George Orson Welles. This quote is all about doing something you love, even if people don't appreciate it. As we've said several times throughout this book, singing does so many great things for us as performers as well as listeners. When I see the above quote about songs being silenced, it doesn't make sense to me. For me, there is always something positive to take away from a song, especially when no one is singing that song, or when one is singing that song. Now, I'm not naive to the fact that music and singing, for that matter, is not everyone's cup of tea. Although I don't fully understand it, I do accept it as a reality for some. This is all the more reason to continue singing, simply because we enjoy it, not caring what others may think or say about it. There's always going to be naysayers saying you're not good enough, negative Nancy's, nothing positive to say ever about anything, never mind about music, and party poopers in the world telling you to turn the music down or off completely. That shouldn't stop us from living out your dreams, pursuing your passions, and enjoying your hobbies. In the end, it's their loss, not yours, so go on singing. October 31st. Love is the harmony of two souls singing together. Gregory J.P. Godek. There is no better description of love than this quote right here. It is so true. When we are in harmony, be it literal, where everything seems to gel, things flow, as well as the reciprocation and understanding of one another is at its optimal level, or metaphorical, when we are singing and the musical melodies sound perfectly layered together, complementing and complementing one another, everything and everyone aligns, and the world around us makes perfect sense. It's as if all the puzzle pieces of life fit like a glove and make a wonderful creation when connected in the right way. This is exactly what happens when people are in love and when us as human beings are in the flow state or in the zone. This state or zone is an amazing place to be, and if you've had the pleasure of experiencing it, it is somewhere you want to live in for as long as possible. In a simple phrase, it's heaven on earth.